Hey guys, Jared from 0 Point Games. Just sort of drop in and give you guys a bit of a walkthrough of our next game. Let me tell you a bit about the game. Two opposing teams. Each team has a series of players. We call them Bellator. Both sides have effectively the same statistics across their teams, different artwork. In essence, you have two evenly matched teams. This is the table as it's set up ready to go. And components of it, we've got our arena. So these are the supporters on one player's side. These are the supporters on the other player's side. The cool thing is when you get an incineration and it detonates, depending on how you're going in the game, you flip these things over and bye-bye opposition supporters. Good times. We've got some player position tokens here. So these are effectively marking the 5 places the active players on the board. So it's player versus player. Most of them can just attack the person opposite them. A few of them, we'll get into in a minute, can attack diagonally opposite as well as straight ahead. But more or less, you have to jostle for position, part of the game. We've got the player cards. So they're pretty cool. They're split between what we call Vanguard and Rearguard. So the Vanguard players are the ones that do most of the grunt work and everything like that. The Rearguard players are the fast, evasive ones that can usually finish things off. The players obviously have a name. Of course they do. They've got a strength, so that's that number there. Okay, it's green because this one's a Vanguard. Slight differences between how you can play them, what they can do in the game. This here is the hit value in the green against the Vanguard and in the red against the Rearguard. Anyone who's green who's a Vanguard is effectively stronger at hitting other Vanguard than they are at hitting Rearguard. There's a few other features on here. Their position, which is just a bit of flavour, a bit of fun. There's another couple of values in here. This one's consistent across the Vanguard and Rearguard, which is the Dignation multiplier, which I'll get to in a minute. This one here is either the raid value, which is for Vanguard. The Rearguard players have a different value and a symbol there for their break strength. So we'll get into that in a minute. But they're the player cards. We've got boost cards. So when we're playing through the game, you take turns of having actions. If you're attacking, if you've got the detonator, which I'll explain in a second, you can do a lot more than if you're defending, trying to get possession of it. These boost cards can be used by either side, depending on when they can legally use them in the rules, but you can play them most of the time throughout the game. We've got things like boost, which increases the strength of either the hit, raid, or the player's strength. They can support a Bellator, which means you can bring another one into play. There's cards that do things like flank. So you take out an opponent, poof, you're down, you can get back up again if you play that card. We'll go into it in a second. So we've got a whole swathe of them. There's usually on most of them a couple of different effects. They're quite often contradicting when you use them in the game. Other times it's supplementary, so you kind of got to weigh up whether you want to use it for one part of the game or save it for later. Got the Inertia Cards. So the Inertia Cards, effectively what happens is it's a turn-based game. So you've got your attacking player who has the detonator. When it's their turn, and this is them all happening, I'll explain it, you flip over an Inertia card. 1. As these Inertia cards build up each turn, the inertia builds in the detonator until you get to a point where boom, you have a detonation. And the detonation is the end of the round, and that's where you flip over some of those arena cards and vaporize some of the opposition supporters, which is always the most fun part of the entire game. I guarantee it. So the objective, like I just said, got to hold on to this little bad boy for as long as you can until you get a detonation. In order to get points in the game, or win the game as such, you need to wipe out the entire opposition's supporters, right the way through to the end. That's effectively 8 points in layman's terms. So the way to do that is to start building up your MAUL. MAUL counter goes from 1 to 3, which is effectively 3 sections of the opposition. There's also a multiplier. which some of the cards have, for example, Carver, 2 times multiplier. So if you can get it to her, when it detonates, and the more count is at 3, we get 6 sections destroyed. The way to increase this is by having more, because that's why we named it more. You've got here a couple of Vanguard. In order to start it, you need to have 3 of them. She's no good. She'll go there. Play around, get to your next turn. Another one. Hey, you've got another Vanguard. Okay, I'm going to start them all. Oof. Got 3 Vanguard players. It goes in the middle. These guys are effectively locked in together. These guys are protecting the one with the detonator. So most of the time, the only way the opposition can break a wall on their turn is by hitting one of the outside players. Now, for example, this player has a strength of 6. They've got an attack hit of 6 on a Vanguard. Strength 7. Can't hit them. Tough luck. You need to either move or support them out to get somebody that can hit them. Until that happens each time it comes around, if you want to carry on your maul, this thing bumps up another level. And that is how you increase your maul meter, and ultimately you get to a detonation, how you wipe out the opposition support. So that's the objective of the game. In the sequence of play, you have the attacker who starts first. There's a series of actions that they can undertake, but the first thing that happens most of the time is if they've got a maul underway, they can decide if they want to carry it on or if they want to break it. If they want to carry it on, it stays where it is. If they want to break it, you flip over the next Inertia card. They also get a support, which means you can bring someone else into the game. Looking at him, looking at this here, he's not really much help to me at the moment, so I'm just going to drop out. He came and had a look, but the other said, no, we got this, bro. So they're just going to carry on their turn. Then you get an action. The actions can be to support, which means you can have Cricket bring another person in. You can move, which means, for example, if you want to move the scavenger out to the outside and bring the carver in, could be a reason you want to do that. That's moving. If you've got a maul going and you want to move, the whole maul moves. Oof. They can be real strategic when you're trying to mismatch where people are with regards to who they can hit. You can pass. So if this wasn't a maul, for example, he can just go past him. Or he can pass to him. You can go for a break, which is a set play. So the break is effectively automatically goes to your scavenger. You find your carver, if it's on the field or on the deck, you stick it underneath, and that effectively means that your scavengers come around, grab the deck, flick it off to your carver. Boom. Carvers are stronger and faster and have an increased multiplier. If the other player doesn't get them on that break and it comes back to your turn, you want to have another crack at it, you can say, I'm going to go all the way out to a wingman. So you have a search through your deck, you pull out your wingman, who's a bit of a Billy Badass, and he has quite strong strength, plus 2 on his break strength. So effectively, you've got to hit an 8 to take him out. And he's got a 2 times multiplier. So by the time it gets to him, he's bolted. Oof. So you've got to work really hard to get him. Which goes on to what the defenders can do. So they can do a few things as well on their turn. They can support, they can move. Obviously not going to pass because they don't have the deck yet. What they can also do is hit. So, with the way this field's set up, he's got a hit strength of 6 against Vanguard. He can hit him, right? 6v6. If he does, he goes down, he goes down. Nothing much is going on here at the moment because the detonator's way over there. So he just did that just to take him out of the action. He's actually a pretty good player, so sometimes that's a good strategy. For argument's sake, if he was holding the detonator and he hit him, boom, boom, because he's holding the detonator, that starts a raid. So the raid is effectively, he's gone down, you've got players that can come in and support them, boom. So because he's either opposite or adjacent, he can come in. He's only got a raid strength of 1. He doesn't even have a raid strength because he's just a little short, fast guy that supports on the back. Old mate over here, raid strength of 3. He's a flanker. He's just got all the grunt in the world. So you can chuck him in. And you could also chuck him in if you wanted just to finish off with raid strength 2. So they've effectively got a raid strength of 5 plus 1 is 6 versus his 1. They've won it all day long. They're going to go back, chuck on the scavenger, they're away again, flip the inertia, next turn. So that's how the game plays, and it plays pretty much that quick. What you've got to remember amongst it all is you've got all these crazy boost cards that can come in and just do things that mess things up for the other person or make it way more beneficial for you if you get near the end of the round. There's also a few cancel cards that cancel someone's boost card they've played. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on while you're playing that can just mess up the other person's strategy. Effectively, we've got set plays, which are the MAUL, which I explained, and these guys are in here. We have Vanguard with it, which helps increase this meter. We've got the raid, which is when someone's hit, and we've got the break, which is going out to the rear guard and clear away. There's all sorts of different ways you can play it, and we play it a million different ways ourselves. There's never any right or wrong way. We've had rounds where nobody's got any detonations because their MAUL count's sitting on 0, and it was just bad luck or good strategy by the other team that they got the detonator and exploded. That's the game of MAUL. It takes about anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes to play, depending on how fast the game goes, how fast you play, how much you argue, and yeah, that's about it. It's pretty much ready to go now, but we're getting some more playtesting done because you can never playtest a game enough. However, it is coming to Kickstarter soon. As you can see on here, these are just printed cards and sleeves. The artwork's done, but this is obviously just our playtesting version. You can check out more about it on our website, www.zeropointgames.co.nz. Find us on Facebook, 0 Point Games. On Instagram, same, 0.point.games. And yeah, we're from Kickstarter. If you want to get on that, you can either apply here or contact us through one of the other socials. We'll give you the link to jump onto our Kickstarter pre-launch page. Get in and follow it now. We're really appreciating all the support we're getting so far. We're just starting to get some momentum building up, so we really want to see you get involved. Jump in, get some comments on here. If you do want to have a game of it right now, you can get on Tabletop Simulator and get amongst it. I'll put some links down below for you to be able to join that as well. Thank you.